what I'm going to invite you to do to start off, just take a comfortable seat, whatever that means to you, so that you're sitting up nice and tall. And as you settle into your seat, noticing your breath. So today we're going to focus on the low back and the psoas. So those parts of the body work together. And so as you are settling in, I want you to check in with how your torso is doing, and specifically the lower part, the front and the back. And take a moment to check in with how you're feeling and thinking about how you want to feel by the time we're done today. And then setting your intention. And then when you're ready, we're going to start with, and I want you to start with small circles, right? So moving through your body and noticing your hips on the ground, noticing the low back, noticing the front of the body. And then we're going to pause and go in the other direction. And then as you're ready, I want you to start to make those circles a little bit bigger. Right? So moving around and noticing, like when you do this, does it cause pain or does it feel good? It's okay, okay. And again, pause and go in the other direction with those bigger circles. And so as you're doing that, do you notice the low back, right? And then we're going to take the hands onto the knees or the floor, and I want you to inhale, pull your chest forward, and then exhale, round the back. So it's a seated cat-cow, but you're not letting your head drop back. We're moving through the torso and the spine and the pelvis and the shoulders, and just moving with your breath, no rush. And again, we'll come to a place where we stop, and then we're going to start with a little twist. So I want you to take one hand behind you and the other hand onto your knee, and your body's going to stay nice and tall. And a few full breaths. So breathe in fully. Sometimes it's a little more challenging to breathe when we're twisted, but you're going to make sure that you breathe fully. And if you can't, come out of the twist a little bit. One of your inhales, lengthen the spine, exhale, come through the center, and then we'll move right to the other side. So again, noticing as you're twisted, breathing fully, what's happening in your shoulders and your low back as you're here. And again, after a few breaths, I want you to inhale, lift up, and exhale, come to the center. And then let's stretch out those legs. So you're sitting up nice and tall, and I don't want your legs so wide that it hurts or pulls, and it's still okay to have something underneath you. And keeping our hands on our legs, we're going to inhale up and exhale, just slide down. So we do this motion a lot when we're standing up, but just noticing as you do this, like what's happening in that lower part of the torso, front and back. Welcome. You know, and you're just registering information as we move. Now, the next time we finish the second side, and you might be deepening as we do this, right? When you finish your second side, we're going to bring those feet together. So now you have a nice big diamond here, so you don't have your feet really close to your groin. I can talk some days. So now I want you to inhale up and exhale, come forward. And because we're still warming up, so you're going to inhale up, exhale down. You're noticing, like maybe sometimes you put your head closer to your feet, but since we're beginning, maybe you're not coming down as far, right? Inhale up, exhale, come forward. And again, like with everything that we're doing, you may deepen with your breaths or you may not. Now, one of these times when you come forward, I want you to stay down here, and you might bring your hands under your ankles, reach your head towards the floor or your feet, knowing that most likely it's not gonna touch down, and you're still breathing. And then on one of your inhales, come on up, and we're going to walk the feet a little bit closer to the groin now. And here, I want you to lift without, like, I don't want you to use your hands. I want you to use the muscles in your legs to bring your knees up and down. And so as you're doing that, like, notice, like, where do you feel it? Do you feel it in your groin? Do you feel it in the low back, in your hips? Exploring as we move. Now we're going to take the hands to the sides and inhale. Let's see, I have to get my breathing right. We're going to inhale, take the arms overhead, bring your knees out. Exhale, bring the knees together and your hands down. Inhale up, exhale down. And it might feel a little crunchy or awkward because we're not used to doing this motion in this direction. And you're just noticing again how it feels. Inhale, exhale. Knees opening and closing. Beautiful. Let's do 2 more times. Now, the next time our knees come together and our hands are on the ground, I want you to bring your knees over to the side. So you're going to inhale, center, and exhale, bring your knees down. And we're going to alternate sides. And again, this is exploration time to notice how your body feels as you're moving. And there's no rush. How does it feel? Is it good? Is it waking up? All right, now, and especially those of you at home, I want you to have some sort of either rolled blanket or a rolled up mat. And so what we're going to do is you're going to take your mat and you're going to come down onto your back carefully, safely, and you're going to put that mat just under your pelvis. And so now here we are, we're laying down. We have this little roll, and the reason I wanted a rolled up mat, I didn't want it to be too high, right? And you're gonna relax your head and shoulders on the ground. And just like we were doing seated, we're going to have our arms down at our sides, our knees are bent in together. Inhale, you're gonna open up those knees and take your arms up overhead, and exhale, come back to the center. And you might not think it makes a big difference having this little roll under your hips, but it really does. It increases, hopefully not too much, that stretch in the front, in the hip flexors and the psoas. Now, one of these times when you inhale and open the knees and take the arms overhead, we're going to pause there for a moment. And if it pulls on your body, having your arms overhead, bring them down to your sides or out, like a T. You're going to find some place that's comfortable. We're going to stay for a few breaths. And obviously, if anything hurts, you're going to bring yourself out of it. Now, just like we did when we were seated, and you can bring your arms, I'm going to take mine into like a cactus shape with my arms open. You can have them out to the side or keep them overhead. And we're going to bring the knees together and come to one side. So inhale, center, exhale to the side, and we're going to alternate sides. And of course, noticing how the movements feel, make sure your breath moves with your movements. We're going to do each side one more time, so whenever you finish your second side, we're going to pause. And now we have our knees pointing up. We're going to take the feet wide, and you're going to bring one knee into the center. Just one knee. You're going to leave the other knee pointing up towards the sky. And now just articulating this one leg. You're going to leave one knee pointing towards the sky, and you're just going to inhale, lift that other knee up and bring it down. So you're just moving one leg. One knee points towards the sky, and like I'm just moving my left leg up and down. Knee towards the center and lifting it back up. I'll do the other side so that people on the video can see that. So your one knee stays pointing to the sky. Now you're going to pause for a moment. Now we're going to move the second leg. So you're going to inhale up, exhale, bring it in. And I like doing one leg at a time so that you can really get a feel for that side, as opposed to sometimes when we alternate, we don't pay the same amount of attention. Not always true, but I want you today to just kind of notice. And you're breathing and noticing how it feels. Now again, next time this knee is pointing up, let's walk our feet back to hip distance apart, and you're going to bring the right knee in towards your chest and hold on to it. And you're just going to breathe for a moment, and you're noticing how it feels. And then we're going to interlace the fingers on the back of the thigh. And the inhale is going to be press that foot up towards the sky, press your hamstrings into your hands. Exhale, take the knee in towards your chest. And we're moving with the same leg. Inhale up, press that foot, so flex it like you're trying to lift the ceiling. Exhale in towards your chest. And you're just moving with your breath, noticing how things feel as we're moving. We're going to do this 2 more times. And then the next time your knee is in towards your chest, we're going to release the hands, take that foot to the floor. And then in your own time, we'll bring the knee towards the left knee towards the chest. And again, we're going to hug that knee in for a moment. And this whole time you're noticing how does it feel in the front of the body and the low back. And then when you're ready, interlacing the fingers on the back of the thigh. Inhale, press that foot up towards the sky. And this is an active movement, right? You're not just flinging your leg up. Exhale in towards your chest. Moving with your breath. So there's no rushing, and you're exploring, how does my low back feel, and the front of the lower part of the torso, how's my leg feel, how's my breath moving. So again, one more time, and then when that knee comes in towards the chest, we're going to release, and then we're going to pick the hips up and slide out that whatever you have under your pelvis. And now here we are, we have our feet about hip width apart. And I would say, like heels are maybe, 4 to 6 inches from your buttocks, arms are down at the side. This is a multi-step movement, so it's a vinyasa, a flow. And so moving at your own pace, we're going to inhale, arms come up overhead, you press down with your feet, your head stays pointing up towards the sky, you lift the hips and the chest. Exhale, hips come down, arms grab onto the front of the knees, pull them in towards the chest. Inhale, arms overhead, legs up towards the sky. Exhale, knees into the chest, you grab onto them. Now here's the big transition. Inhale, feet come down, arms come overhead, lift up the hips and the chest. Exhale, hips down, knees in towards the chest. Inhale, arms overhead, feet towards the sky. Exhale, knees towards the chest. Inhale, feet down, hips and chest up, arms overhead. Exhale, knees into the chest. Inhale, legs up, arms overhead. Exhale, knees into the chest. One more time, inhale, feet down, arms overhead, hips and chest come up. Exhale, knees into the chest. Inhale, arms overhead, legs come up. And exhale, knees into the chest. And once your knees are in towards your chest, I want you to roll through your knees, through your hips, holding onto your knees a couple of times in each direction. Hopefully relaxing that low back towards the ground and checking in. And eventually we'll come to a place where we stop and roll over to one side. Use your hands to help you sit up. Make sure you're not too dizzy. Maybe that's just me. And then we're gonna come onto our knees. And so you might have a blanket under your knees depending on what type of surface that you're on. And so for just a moment, bear with me, we're gonna use our feet. And so what I want you to do is turn your toes under. So we're gonna stretch the feet out a little bit. For some of us, this does not feel good, right? So your toes are turned under and you're almost like imagining that you're reaching your heels towards the ground, stretching the feet. We're breathing. And then the movement is going to be inhale those arms up, and we keep those, unless it hurts your feet, you're gonna keep your toes turned under, and exhale, come down towards kind of a modified child's pose. Inhale, reach up, and for most of us, our head will not come down to the ground. Inhale up, exhale down. And again, moving slowly with your breath, noticing all those wonderful sensations. Let's do 2 more times. This will be our last time. Now, when we come down this time, let's stay down here. We're going to release those hands and walk them out in front and come up onto your fingertips. And you might have a block under your head, or your head, might come down to the ground, but you're up on your fingertips. You're reaching your wrists towards the sky. And then we're going to walk the hands over to the left, reach your hips over to the right, so you get a nice stretch through your side body. Still breathing. When you're ready, we'll come through the center and then take the second side. So as you walk your hands to the right, you're releasing the hips over to the left. Again, we're going to make our way through the center. Now, some of you might like to use blocks here. We're going to step forward with our right foot. And you have the right knee over the ankle. Your hands are on the blocks or on the floor. And you might have a blanket under your knees, because what I want you to do here is we're going to bend that back knee. Okay? And you're lifting that heel towards your buttock. Not rushing this movement. Lifting the heel towards your buttock and then returning it to the floor. Now for me, I get a nice stretch in the front of that hip flexor, but you do want to make sure that your knee is not poking into the floor. Now eventually, next time that foot comes down, we're going to straighten that front leg, take your heel into the ground and flex that foot, pull your toes towards your body. You're not dropping your hips towards your back heel, and then some of you might reach your head towards that straight leg. You're going to keep breathing. And in your own time, you'll walk yourself forward. We're going to add a little twist here. So you're going to keep that front hand down on the floor. Take your other same side hand onto your thigh. Bring your belly towards that inner thigh, softening the front of that hip flexor of your knee that's behind you. You're still breathing. Now on an exhale, we're going to turn back towards the ground and very carefully step that front foot back. I'm going to bring the other foot forward. And again, same thing, you're going to make sure that your knee is behind your hip and that your front knee is over the ankle. Your hands are in a comfortable place, and we're going to just start to lift that back heel up. And you're still breathing, you're making sure nothing hurts. Now, if by chance, I should have said this earlier, but if you have difficulty being on your knee, you could do this on the floor, on your belly, and tap that foot onto the floor and lift it towards your buttock. Because always there's a different way to do this. And you're just breathing and moving through that back leg, noticing how it feels as you move. Nice. Now, again, next time that foot comes to the floor, we're going to straighten your front leg, take your heel into the ground, pull the toes towards your body. So you probably notice as soon as you do that, it stretches up the whole back of the leg. And then some of you might start to bring your body towards that straight leg. But notice, if you try to force it, like notice what happens with your foot and other parts of your body. Because like in everything in life, we don't want to force anything. So another breath or two. And then when you're ready, we're going to bend the front knee. Keep the leg that's back hand. Keep that hand on the floor, other hand onto your thigh, belly towards the inner thigh. Long, smooth breaths. It hurt. Now we're going to turn on an exhale back towards the ground. Lift that back knee off the ground and step the back foot forward. And here we are in our forward bend. Take your hands onto your legs. We're going to inhale up and exhale down. Just moving at your own pace with your breath, inhaling up, exhaling down. Just going to rearrange. All right. Now, next time that you're inhaling up, come on all the way up, and let's find a tennis ball, if you like tennis balls. And I'll show you an option today too, if you either don't have or don't like a tennis ball. So either you're rolling on your foot or you're stretching your foot out. Right? So taking your toes onto the ground, stretching the top part of the foot, or you're rolling on the tennis ball, and you control how much weight is pressing into that ball. This is my remedy for anything that ails you. And then we're going to take the second foot. You're going to roll. I'm going to close the door. Oh, sure. Okay, thank you. All right, so we're rolling the second foot, or you're pressing using that foot on the ground. Excuse me? You feel it? Doesn't it feel good though? No? Okay. So eventually, even though I could do that for hours, we're going to come to a place where we stop and make your way towards the front of your mat. And your feet are about hip width apart. And we're going to just move with the breath, because we do this all the time. You're going to inhale up, maybe coming up onto your toes, exhale down. And if it doesn't work for your shoulders to come all the way overhead, just bring them up to shoulder height. And you're noticing things like your balance, your breath, how is everything doing today? One more time. And then we're going to take one arm forward, one arm back, and try to meet those hands overhead. And again, you can come up onto the toes, or you can keep your feet flat. So even doing this, like I can feel the front of my body stretching when I take that arm up overhead. So noticing what you're feeling as you move. And when you finish the second side, we'll pause for a moment, and then, and you can use a wall here, or, if you have a chair close by or something like that. What I want you to do is bring one knee in towards your chest. You're going to find your balance. And then holding with the same side hand as that leg, you're going to open that knee in and out. Right? Keep breathing. Beautiful. Now, next time you come through the center, we're going to take that foot down, second side. And again, you hug that knee in first, and then using that same side hand, you're going to start to open that knee out to the side and come back. Beautiful. So we're going to do it one more time. And you'll pause. Make sure that you're still breathing fully. We're going to come back to the second side. And now you're going to hold with the opposite hand. Okay? And what we're going to do is bring that knee across the body. Keep breathing. So you're crossing the knee over the front of the body. And come back through the center. Bring that foot down. Keep breathing. Second side. All of a sudden it felt like it got really warm in here. Did it? Oh, so I wasn't alone. I'm like, what is going on? Okay, so second knee up. And again, holding with the opposite hand, taking that knee across your body. And breathing. Now, when you're ready, we'll come back to the center. You're going to bring that foot down to the ground. Come back to your mats if you're at the wall. So we're going to inhale up, exhale down, and then walk the hands over to one side. Shift your hips. You can have a block under your hands. So you're reaching the hips to one side and your hands to the other. So hopefully getting a stretch to the side of the body, outside of the hip, really. Coming through the center and then taking the second side. Really releasing to the best of your ability the outside of that hip. And coming through the center, and hands are on the ground. We're going to step back with your right foot. And if possible, you're going to have that toe turned under, right? And you're going to reach the heel towards the ground. So your front knee is over the ankle. You have a full leg's length of that leg behind you, and you're reaching that back heel towards the ground. And then you could have your hands, on the floor or on blocks. We're going to bend that back knee and lift it up, but we're not going to touch down on the ground. So you're just bending towards the floor and straightening the back leg. Your front leg is stationary. So you're bending and straightening, noticing all those wonderful sensations. And the next time that your leg is a little bent, we're going to step that foot forward. Take your left foot back. And get yourself all set up, right? Your knees over your ankle. You're reaching that left heel towards the floor. And you're breathing. So we're stretching the calf a lot. And then you're going to bend that back knee and straighten the leg. And I just want you to notice which muscles you're stretching as you do that. Thank you. So again, next time your leg is a little bent, we're going to step that foot forward. And then either using a strap or taking your hands, clasping them at the low back. And if your hands don't clasp at your low back, we'll use a strap here. And we're going to take the hands away from the low back. You have a little bend in your knees, maybe your chest is towards your thighs. You're stretching the arms away from your low back, relaxing the head and neck to the best of your ability. Keep breathing. And then we're going to release the hands, take them down onto the floor. And one more time, we're going to step back with the right foot. And this time, instead of bending and straightening the back leg, we're going to bend and straighten that front leg. And so again, as we bend and straighten, you're noticing where you feel sensation, moving with your breath. And the next time that the front leg is bent, we'll step the back leg forward and switch sides. And there's no rush, so get yourself set up. And again, in your own time, we'll start to bend and straighten that front leg. Nice. And again, once more, when that front knee is bent, we'll step that back foot forward. Take your hands onto your legs. Inhale, slide up. You're gonna make sure you're not dizzy when you come up. And then roll through those shoulders. Then let's roll one shoulder at a time. How's everybody doing? All right, so from here, I want to come down to the floor. We're not doing Shavasana yet, don't get too excited. I know. And again, I want you to have a blanket under your knees. So let's come through a squat first. So you'll come down into some sort of squat. We're gonna stay here for a little bit. So you might have your feet turned out. You might have a blanket under your heels or a block under your bottom. And you're gonna have a blanket close by because we're gonna use it in a moment anyway. So as you're here, the back is a little bit rounded. You're grounded down through your feet and you're noticing what's happening in the low back specifically. So this is one of my favorite ways to release stress in the low back. So notice if it's creating more stress for you, I want you to find a position where that doesn't happen. Beautiful. Now when you're ready, you're gonna bring yourself all the way down to the ground. We have that blanket close by. And here, so we're going to be on our hands and knees. I want you to walk your hands in front of your shoulders. And you're going to engage those lower abdominals so that they are helping you to stay here. Now our inhale is going to be drop the hips towards the ground. And exhale, come back to a puppy pose or child's pose, whatever works for you better. So inhale is forward, exhale is back. Again, you're noticing what's happening in the front of the lower part of your torso and your low back. Moving with your breath, no rush. You can do this same movement on your back body if you can't be on your knees. So just know that pretty much everything we do can be flipped around somehow, modified. Might be a better word, but flipped around. So one more time. And then we're going to keep your right knee on your blanket. And you're going to slide that left leg back. And we're stretching the foot again, taking that heel towards the ground. I'm also pushing away with my hands a little bit. Then you're going to walk that knee up, second side, slide that leg back. Again, toes are turned under, reaching the heel towards the ground. Still breathing. Now we're going to step that foot in. We're going to come down onto our elbows. You still have both of your knees on your mat now. You're going to shift the weight into the right knee and stretch your left leg out. And we're going to bend that knee, flex your foot towards the sky, and you're going to press up towards the sky. Like we're all going to raise the roof with our feet. And if it bothers you in some way being on your elbows, you could be on your hands. I like to sometimes be on the elbow to get a different opening in the shoulders. And we're going to bring that knee in, second side, stretch out your other leg, bend the knee, flex the foot, and start to press up. Keep breathing. Beautiful. We're going to take that knee down. Now with this one, and you might have to open your blanket up a little bit, because I want both of your knees to be on the ground. You're going to have your right knee slightly in front of your left knee. And we're going to bend that back knee. And you might have blocks under your hands. So your front knee hand is going to stay on the ground, and you're going to reach towards that back foot, or you could use a strap. Find your balance. I find having distance between my knees helps with the balance. Keep breathing. Yeah, so bring one knee forward. There you go. And put a block under your hand if you want to down. Okay. How are we doing here? Much. Okay, we're going to take another breath or two, and when you're ready, because you might be ready before I say so, we're going to release that foot and switch knees. And again, bending that back knee. And so for some of us, just reaching this heel towards your buttock is going to be enough, right? Some of you might want blocks under your hands. Some of you might reach back, or that foot, pull that foot in. You're breathing, never forcing. And again, in your own time, if you're ready before I say so, release. I'm going to release now. And then we're going to step that foot forward. And let's take child's pose for a moment, or puppy pose, or you might want to move back and forth. We're going to relax for a moment, check in with your breath. Now, eventually, we're going to lift ourselves up. We're going to take our butt onto the ground, sweep your legs around. And so here we are. Y'all are probably like knowing what's coming up. We have our feet on the floor so that your heels can slide. Some of you might even like a little blanket under them. You're going to sit up nice and tall. And with this next group of poses, there's so many ways that you can do it, so I want you to find one that feels really good in your body. We're going to start with our hands at the back, and so you're going to open up your shoulders, right? You're not dropping your head back. You're going to press your chest forward and your shoulders back. A couple of nice deep breaths here. Then you're going to relax that part so that your spine's in its natural position, and you're going to start to drag your heels in. So you're just bringing your heels in, straightening them out, noticing how that feels, and notice if your body has to move as you move your legs. So we're trying to keep the body stationary right now as we move those legs in and out. All right. Now, for this next part, this is where your body might come back, or for most of us it will. You might slide back and lift up your legs. So inhale, as we're sitting upright, exhale, slide back. You could just slide your heels in without lifting them. You could lift them up so that your toes are in line with your eyes. And some of you might do straight legs. I don't do straight legs anymore. And you're finding that place. Now the next step would be to inhale, extend your arms up overhead, and exhale, have your feet in line with your eyes. Right? Or any variation of these poses. You're moving with your breath. Inhale when we're in staff pose or Dandasana. Exhale as you come into some variation of boat pose Navasana. Moving with your breath, making sure that the movements are working for you, that you can still breathe easily. Now on this next exhale, whatever pose you're taking, we're going to hold the pose. So you might hold your legs, you might have your legs straight or bent, you might have your hands on the floor, and we're going to breathe. And from here, we're going to very carefully make our way onto our back bodies and bring those knees into your chest. And so you might make some circles, you might just hug your knees. And you're checking in, of course, with your breath. Now from here, I want you to pull your mat up so that you're going to be able to slide your feet on the floor. So we're going to have, here we are, we're laying on our back now. We're going to take the feet to the floor. Knees are bent about hip distance apart. And you're going to come up onto your right heel. Your arms are at your side or on your body, wherever it's comfortable. And you're just going to slide that leg away from your body. And you're moving with your breath. So inhale as you straighten the leg. Exhale as you bend the leg. And this is not a quick motion. I want you to kind of drag your heel along the floor. And we're just moving one leg. And your heel is intentionally connected to the floor. Right? So it's not done in the air. All right, now, next time your knee is bent, we're going to do the second leg. So again, come up onto your left heel, and with your breath, inhale, extend the leg. Exhale, bring the heel in. Keeping the heel connected to the floor. So having our heel connected to the floor, in case some of you are wondering why we might do that, it's so that there is some resistance. Right? And so you're using your muscles in a different way because you're pressing that heel into the floor. Now we're going to do 2 more times. And then when your knee is bent, you're going to pause for a moment. And we're going to go back to the right leg. And now you're going to come out at an angle. And you're going to choose the angle. Don't make it too far. And you're, again, going to slide the heel out. And I'm saying maybe like 3 to 6 inches out to the side. You're sliding the leg out and sliding it back in. Same leg, heel connected to the floor. Moving with your breath. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend the knee. And yes, sometimes the heel makes funny noises on the floor. I'm clearing them. 2 more times, and then we're going to go to our second leg. So whenever you complete that second time, move over to your second leg, and again, at the diagonal with your heel. And you might notice that one leg moves more easily at a bigger angle than the other one. So you're just, of course, no judgment, just noticing what happens in your body as you move. And after this next time, we're going to bring both of your feet so that they're about hip distance apart. And let's take the right knee in towards your chest. And now we're going to make some big circles with that knee, moving a couple times in each direction. And you're noticing as you do this, like, how does it feel in your, the back of your hip, the back we'll take that foot down to the side, to the floor, not to the side, and then do your second side. So bring it in, hug it in, and then start to make circles. And you can use your hand to guide your knee or not. Again, we'll go around in circles, making sure that we do the, similar amount in the different directions. And eventually we'll come to a place where we pause. And just like we did at the very beginning, we're going to have our knees touching, our ankles together, our arms down at the sides. And we're going to inhale, open the knees out to the sides, the bottoms of the feet come together, the arms come overhead. Exhale, knees come together, arms come back down. Moving with your breath, no rush. It's my hope that all of you, that this feels a little bit easier or smoother than when we did it the first time. And you're just noticing and again, next time your legs are open and your arms are overhead, we're going to pause here for a moment. You can keep your arms extended. You can bring them into cactus arms, whatever feels best in your body. And in your own time, we're going to take that right knee and bring it on top of the left. And you might turn your head away from the knees. And we're going to move on our exhale. So you're going to inhale here, exhale, come back to the center with the head and the knees. Inhale again. Exhale, take the second side. Inhale, only move on the exhale. So you have to think a little bit, right? Exhale back to the center. Inhale. Exhale, first side with the head and the knees. Inhale. Exhale, move back to center. Inhale, and then exhale, move to the next side. Inhale, exhale, back to the center. Inhale, exhale to the side. And when we make our way back to the center after our second side, this is where I want you to check in with your body. Is there anything else that your body needs before we start to make our way into Shavasana? And so there might be something that we've done already or that you know that your body would love right now. So go ahead and do that. And if you're not, if you're ready to go right into Shavasana, you're going to go ahead and do that. So what would you need to do in your body to feel really comfortable in Shavasana? And if you need anything, any props or suggestions, let me know. Do you need something? Okay, so once you get yourself settled into Shavasana, I want you to check in, take a nice deep breath, and as you exhale, soften in to the floor. Ask yourself, is there anything that would help you to be a little bit more comfortable here? when you are ready, I want you to think about, and don't put a lot of thought, I want you to see like what pops for you. What is it that has been standing in your way, completing whatever it is that you wanted to get done this year? And kind of get that in your mind. And what would it be like to let go of that thing, whatever it is? Because now, like, we just had a solar eclipse yesterday, it's a new moon today, it's a great time to release, especially things from our past. And then today, setting those seeds for creating what it is that we want to create in our life. And so as you gently reawaken, I'm going to invite you to slowly stretch and eventually bring yourself into a comfortable being the key word, right? Seated position. And then bringing your hands to your heart center with your thumbs gently resting on your sternum, your breastbone, little space between your hands. And thinking about that thing that you want to release. And the seed sound for Ganapate, that chant that I did, is boom. So what I want you to do is, you can say it aloud or you can say it silently, but I want you to, hold in your hands that thing that you want to release. And then think or say, goom, 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 like G-1-U-M, goom, goom. Then we're going to release our hands and kind of flick whatever it is that we want to let go into the earth. And I want to thank you all so much for being here. Let's do it all together. Nice big inhale. Om.